Is there a tiredness inside you that you've told no one about? You know, from the outside, everything looks normal. You smile, you talk, you go to work, you fulfill your responsibilities. But when you lay your head on the pillow at night, a weight falls over you. You can't quite name the reason, as if something is missing, as if something is too much, as if there's a voice inside you that has been silenced. Maybe it's not a coincidence that you're here today, because sometimes a person notices the ache in their soul before the pain in their body. And sometimes it's the opposite. You silence your soul and the body starts speaking. If you've liked the video and subscribed to my channel, come, let's solve this together. Carl Gustav Jung says that a person's greatest problem is not the events in the outer world, but the relationship they have with their own unconscious. According to him, a person carries the weight of the emotions they never truly lived. Everything that is repressed grows in the shadow, and the things that grow in the shadow eventually take the steering wheel of your life. Now I'm going to ask you an honest question. What have you really been feeling lately? Are you tired, hurt, angry, or are you just in survival mode? Because what we call enduring is often slowly exhausting ourselves. Do you notice the sentences running through your mind during the day? I can't keep up. It didn't work again. Why am I like this? I have to be strong. These are not just thoughts, they are instructions sent to your nervous system. When the mind creates a scenario, the body treats it as real. When you think about something over and over, the body relives it over and over. When you remember a moment that hurt you in the past, your heart speeds up again. An event that ended years ago may still be sitting in your muscles as tension today, because the body does not experience time as clearly as you do. If the feeling is real, the danger is real. Jung says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. In other words, as long as you are unaware, the emotions you repress will manage you. Maybe you weren't allowed to cry as a child. Maybe your anger was called inappropriate. Maybe when you were afraid, you were told, you're exaggerating. And so you learned to hide your feelings, to look strong, to manage everything. But no repressed emotion ever disappears. It only changes form. Sometimes it becomes a migraine, sometimes a stomach problem, sometimes an exhaustion that never goes away, sometimes not having the strength to do anything at all. Let me say this very clearly. It's not true that every illness is psychological, but it's also impossible to say that psychology does not affect the body. Mind and body are not two separate systems. They are two different languages of the same story. If there's a constant war inside you, the body cannot remain at peace. If the person you want to be and the person you feel forced to be are not the same, if your heart wants one life while your mind walks another path, if every day you are moving a little further away from yourself, this inner conflict creates a burden in the body. Because while your soul says no, you keep saying yes. Now let's go a little deeper. There are people who constantly try to control everything. They plan everything, think about everything, calculate every possibility. But what they are really trying to control is the fear inside them. There are people who always appear strong. They support everyone, carry everyone, but they show their own burden to no one. There are people who are always understanding. They forgive everyone, tolerate everyone, but inside they accumulate. And one day, the body says, I can't carry this anymore. Maybe you've been carrying things for a long time. Your family, your responsibilities, your past, expectations, the standards you set for yourself. And you never asked, what do I want? What Jung calls the shadow steps in right here. the part of you you don't want to see, the side you are afraid to accept, the emotions that don't fit your good person image, your anger, your jealousy, your vulnerability, your sense of inadequacy. The more you repress them, the deeper they sink into the unconscious. But the unconscious is not a trash can, it is an energy field, and everything that is repressed consumes energy. Maybe that's why you are constantly tired. Maybe that's why you feel drained even when you've done nothing, because you are not only living your life, you are also suppressing yourself. There's one more thing I want you to notice: the way you talk to yourself. Maybe this is the greatest impact you have on your body. Are you harsh with yourself? Do you tear yourself down when you make a mistake? Do you always expect more? The body is influenced by the tone of the mind it lives in. A mind that constantly feels under threat keeps the body in defense mode. Defense mode is not a problem in the short term, but if it lasts for years, the system becomes exhausted. Immunity drops, sleep is disturbed, digestion is affected, muscles remain chronically tense, and we call it, "I'm getting older." But maybe we have been at war for years. Now let's come to a very honest place. Maybe it's not your body that is sick. Maybe it's your soul that is tired. Maybe illness is not an enemy, but a warning. Stop. Look at yourself. What are you really feeling? Healing sometimes begins with a difficult confrontation. Yes, I'm hurt. Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I'm unhappy. Yes, I'm afraid. Admitting these is not weakness. On the contrary, it is awareness. According to Jung, a person cannot become whole without accepting their darkness. To reach the light, you must first meet the shadow. Maybe this is what your body is trying to do for you, bringing you closer to your truth. Maybe the thing you've been running from for years is actually the thing that will set you free. Now I'll leave you with one last question. If your body could speak, what would it say to you? Slow down? Say no? Cry? Rest? Stop pretending? Maybe today is the first time to truly listen, because thoughts may be invisible, but their effects are visible. And sometimes healing begins in that quiet moment when you dare to look at yourself honestly.